Interest rate versus
multiple offer situations.
That's going to be our topic of discussion today because we have so many buyers that are sitting on the fence right now because we're not going to lie, interest rates went up to almost 8%. We're like, that's obviously, not anybody's number, but we're going to bring you guys back to reality for all those folks sitting on the fence and kind of remind you about what happens when you have a multiple offer situation. So you kind of weigh your options about, which one of these do I want to have? Because remember, what's gone, Darla? What days have gone? What ship has sailed?
The lower, under 3% or under 4% interest rates for sure.
Okay, and what were you just telling me about home prices? We were just doing, we're doing our homework before we did this video. First time visiting my channel, thank you very much. Please make sure to subscribe and click the bell so that you will be notified of any new videos that we have upcoming. We deal with buyers on a daily basis. They're calling us, they're texting us, they're emailing us. It doesn't matter if you're closing today, tomorrow, next week, or a year. We want to educate you and make it a seamless and easy process. We actually kind of want to make it fun. It can be stressful, it can be, but we would love to do that. Again, I'm Judy Hayes with Design Realty Group.
And I'm Darla Nunley.
Thank you. We appreciate you watching our channel.
Our home appreciation values are continuing to rise. So we were looking at the difference between January or March of 2020, kind of when COVID started, until now. And we were seeing like $120,000 to $140,000 of appreciation in 3 years.
Yes, so right now the average price is like $414,000. It was like $290 in January
of 2020.
So that's huge. So number one, folks, prices of houses are not coming down. They're not.
If you see price decreases, why do you think that is?
I know why that is. That is because you overpriced it to begin with. Okay, lots of scenarios about that. So you can see houses coming down if they overpriced to begin with, or their home wasn't in immaculate shape. So right now, if you have a buyer out on the market and buyers actually looking, so here's some advice to sellers. Number one, you better be priced at market value. Number two, you better look like Joanna Gaines lives there. Okay, nobody wants just a plain old boring house. They just
Our buyers are picky right now.
Well, they can be. Okay, they can be, and they can also go to new construction. So we're gonna talk about several things, but we're gonna talk about a little bit of numbers here. So I did some numbers last night on a house. So if you bought a house at $400,000 today at 7.5% interest rate, your payment would be about $27.97. Now that's principal and interest only. So keep that in mind.
How much down?
None. I just did $400,000 as my finance amount. So if you choose my way and you buy today at $400,000, 7.5% interest, your payment would be $27.97 principal and interest. Her way. So multiple offers. If you're in a multiple offer situation, Darla,
typically what happens is you come in and you put your offer in, and even if there's 2 or 3 others, there are people that are doing either what you're doing or they're doing something better. So you're looking at a cash offer potentially, or you're looking at conventional. So if you're doing FHA with 3.5% down and you're asking for closing costs, you may not get looked at. So what ends up happening is the buyers decide, well, I'm going to offer more money. Well, the minute we have a multiple offer situation, everybody starts thinking about how can I rearrange my offer so I look better. And sometimes that's more money. Sometimes that's pulling the closing costs back. Sometimes it's a shorter close date. Sometimes we do different things in order to do that. But if you're in a multiple offer situation, you're more than likely going to have to look at paying more money for the home.
So let's say it is April of 2024 and the interest rate goes down to 6% because we have all prayed to Jesus Christ.
We have a lot of buyers that are sitting and waiting right now for even the smallest amount. So last week, the Feds met and they decided they're going to hold off on doing anything with interest rates again. So what happened, we saw it tick down about 1/4 of a point. So it went from 8 to about 7.75.
I saw somebody say 7.50, but I'm not being argumentative.
Right, well, somewhere in there, it ticked down a little bit.
The people that know things in the air, whoever the boss of the interest rate is, they feel that the interest rate is going to be in the 6s by the spring of 2024. Don't hold us to that. So let's just hypothetically say we're going to hit 6%. Everybody that's out there on the wait bus, on the school wait bus, is going to be like, it's time to go. And so they're not choosing my way, because my way is I'm going to sell my buyers. I think you should buy today. We're at a higher interest rate, but what about that interest rate, Darla? So what happens if I buy today at 7.5% and it goes down to 6%? If it's my client, why is that good for me?
Well, because if it's good for you, because then you are paying less money on your mortgage for sure.
I can.
But you can refinance.
So if I'm at 7.5 per day today and I buy today at 400,000, I can refinance as the rate goes down, and that gets better for me. It's not going to get worse for me, right? So
that's a fixed number.
That's a fixed number. So if I did the math, if you buy 450 with Darla's multiple offer on the same house, because she had to go over, and she went over $50,000 at 6% interest, the payment is $26.96, or $26.86. So it's about $100 a month cheaper. Monthly is cheaper, but what just happened to your 50 grand? You just came out of pocket $50,000. So it's a choice. What do you prefer?
Right.
So my main thing is, Darla, what happens if you get in your house, everybody gets in their house and no one plans to leave quickly, right? No one says, no one's going to buy over market value. No one plans to leave in 2 years. But if something happens, good or bad, you win the lottery, unfortunately, you might get a divorce, you may change a job, something like that, and you have to call. And I got to call Darla because we chose her way, right? We waited for the interest rates to go down.
And we paid over.
All the people that are waiting on the fence right now go, and you paid over. Tell me what's going to happen when I meet with you, because I got to sell my home because I have my job relocated.
Well, you're going to be under, you're going to be upside down.
You're going to be upside
in your
down.
mortgage, because you've got, when you go to sell, you not only have to look at what the current market is, which a lot of people are seeing that they bought it 3 years ago and now the market's really slowed up, and they don't have very much equity built up anymore.
Okay, so you are negative equity. So that's where I was going to get. If you overpaid for your home, and we're just using $50,000 as an example, it would take you 5 to 10 years to catch up. You were going to be upside down 5 to 10 years at least, that on that house,
waiting for the appreciation
to be back level, just normal, just to get back to the normal rate. So if you choose the higher interest rate, that doesn't affect the value of your home. So if you called me, my buyer bought at 7.5% at 400,000, and my buyer lost their job, they've got equity in their home the day they close. They may have only put 5% down or 10% in, but they've got a little bit. They've got a little bit of equity. If you choose the multiple offer situation, you are putting a noose around your neck. You're hanging yourself out to dry with regard to equity in your home. A higher interest rate doesn't affect the value of your home. I can sell it any time. It doesn't affect that. When you go to multiple offer situations and you choose to bid over the market value of the house, remember, you're over market value, because if that $400,000 home was worth $425,000, they would have listed it at $420,000.
Well, we also have to think about when all this started a couple of years ago, the other problem that we had was the appraisal values weren't meeting up with what buyers were willing to do. So the appraisals were coming in at where the market was, but we've got all these people that are wanting to pay over, and the appraiser can't. They take that into consideration a little bit, but people were having to come out of cash.
So that's cash gone, kaput.
Cash that you put into a home that you're now going to have to wait years in order to see that appreciation.
So think about that. So the best time to buy a house, period, is when you find the house of your dreams and you can afford it. You can always buy the interest rate down. We've had videos on that before. We have every new construction builder out there. You don't even have to ask for it. They're just giving it. So that's good. All of our resale, we have lenders that are going to do it for 3, 2, 1. So your first year is 3%, your second year is 4%, your third year is 5%, that kind of thing. It trickles down. And anytime during that time frame, you can lock it in. But the point is, the interest rate is flexible and can make your payment lower. If you choose a multiple offer situation, that number stays, that sales price stays. So hooray that you got 6%, but this number is still too high.
Well, and also think about, if you want to talk numbers and finance, the other thing to think about is if you buy even in a higher interest rate environment. Now remember, where we are right now is pretty close to normal over the lifespan of since the 70s when they were tracking this, okay? So we're still in a normal situation. It's just not where we were a couple of years ago. But if you're looking at strictly numbers and you look at buying a home when you're ready, what you can afford to buy right now, as these prices continue to appreciate, because we're still seeing appreciation every single month. The prices are still going up. We've got the numbers. We're watching them. Even from a year ago till today, we've still seen $13,000-$14,000 in price appreciation. So every month it's going up, so somewhere around 1%, but it is still going up at the moment. So you have to think about, when you look at the numbers, even if you buy with a high interest rate, you're still building equity every single month. If you overpay, that timeline goes way out here where you would have been right here if you had just bought it. Right now, we have a whole lot of buyers that are dragging their feet. They're listening to their aunts and their uncles and their cousins and their best friends telling them, oh, well, you wait. You know, we bought it and we got 3% and our note's so much better, blah, blah, blah. You can't wait on that because financially it's not going to make sense.
Right. So we do feel the interest rate will go down, but we also feel the price will go up. So pick your poison. Which way do you want to get it? So you house hunt when you find what you want and you're able to afford.
And right now we're able to negotiate for our buyers.
Right. Again,
a lot of things we're able to negotiate right now. We're in a multiple offer situation. You're having to give up inspections. You're having to give up closing costs. You're having to give up interest rate buy down information. You're having to give up timelines. You're having to do lease backs. There's all kind of things that a buyer has to give up in
it's
a very
not just the price.
Big multiple offer situation, that you want to be in the bargaining seat. You want to be in control of who's making the negotiating decisions. You always want to be that first person.
That is an excellent point. Plus, like you said, right now we're able to ask our sellers to help pay those closing costs. What are those closing costs? That's fees that our buyers are having to pay to get into a home, but we're trying to buy that rate down, which is what we talked about. Your sellers are more than willing to do that because why? The market's a little slower, their houses aren't selling as quickly, and you don't have as much competition right now.
Right.
We are always slower in November and December. Everybody's focusing on the holidays. I get that. But if you're in a position that you're looking and you're wanting to waiting on the bench right now might not be your best option, because if you call us in March and April, you're going to be like, I wished I would have done this when there was less competition. Less competition because everybody else is sitting on the bench and the prices haven't increased, and then the interest rate goes down, and then your closing cost goes away. And so again, there's more to negotiate than just the price. Is the price a big deal? Yes, but there's a lot more factors to it, which is why you need an experienced real estate agent. So while we're here, I'm Judy Hayes with Design Realty Group.
And I'm Darla Nunley.
We are the real estate agents, and so you get the fun part of house hunting with us, whether you want to do new construction, single family neighborhood, custom homes on acreage, we do it all. But what we want to do is educate and inform you so that you make a good decision. And unfortunately, obviously, if you don't have cash, you got to go through the lending process, which is not fun at all, but it's where you need the most education.
Right.
So we talked about high interest rate versus multiple offer situation, but what those two things really boil down to is equity. What we want you to have is equity in your home. So if you have equity, Darla, what can they do with equity in their home?
Well, first of all, the best thing to do when you invest in a property, whether it's an investment that you're using for your own personal home, or you're looking at buying something to potentially rent out later or rental. We always talk about the fact that you make money on the buy, you don't make money on the sell, okay? You have to think of it when you go to buy the home, where are you and where can you put money into it to make money on it later.
So sometimes it's not, I'm not gonna lie, I like new construction. I like everything to be pretty and brand new and working perfectly, right? But with a brand new construction home, you're not necessarily walking into equity, because if they're still building new construction in the neighborhood, it takes a minute. It's not that you don't have equity, but you got competition. Lots of competition, because they offer lots of shiny things over at new construction. So new construction is good, don't get me wrong. But what Darla's gonna talk about is, what if your budget doesn't allow brand new, pretty, everything perfect? What's our next plan? Let's get another house.
Right. So let's talk about if you're out looking at houses, and what we're seeing right now is our buyers are super picky. And a lot of what's on the market is not really what the buyers want or what they've seen over the past couple of years, because of that frenzy of investors who bought, rehabbed, flipped, turned properties out, and all these people got all these brand
they watch
things,
HGTV and their unrealistic expectations. So today you go look at a $300,000 house and you're like, that's not even really impressive.
What's really good is to have an agent like Judy and I that have done these kinds of things before, and we've got a little bit more of an eye for structure, details, vision, things that we can talk to you about things that you can do, whether you've got a big budget for rehab or you have a little tiny budget that goes to Home Depot and you start painting and doing things on walls and, you know, arranging furniture and things like that. We can really help you have a better vision with no matter what property that you walk into. So when you are looking at homes, don't cast out the older ones that probably need a little bit more work, or they're brown, or
they stink.
I mean, think about what you personally could do with that property. That person is going to have a harder time selling that property than they will selling something down the street that's been completely rehabbed. And I get a lot of people say, well, I don't have the money to do that. Well, guess what happens when you buy and you make a good buy and the prices are continuing to go up and you make changes to your home? You now have equity.
Equity. And the other thing that you have is what's called a 203K loan while we're looking. So if we're going to look at a house that has, it's stinky, you know, nobody wants that. But this is the way I say, it smells like money. It smells like money in here. So if you just need, and we're not talking busting down a whole add-on, but if you just need carpet, paint, appliances, and countertops, that's kind of a basic rehab. We're going to put you in a 203K loan. It's got about a $35,000 balance or amount that you can get. We're going to get your loan, and then as soon as you close, your contractor can come in and make all those so you are walking in with equity and everything's done for you. Or you can do it over your time. There's a lot of DIY projects. There's a lot of YouTube things that you can figure out. So if you want to have instant equity in your home, buy a fixer-upper.
Right. So Judy I love that idea because I had that house in Shepherd that I talked about that a lot. That house had absolutely fantastic bones. There was nothing wrong with that house. It just needed a little bit of updating is all it needed. So somebody that could buy it, move in there, put granite countertops in, change the floors out, paint to the colors and the cabinets that they wanted to, and literally do nothing else with that house. And it was perfectly fine to move into that. And I love that FHA 203K loan because there's two different options with that. And we've got a lot of lenders that know what to do with that. Yes. One of them's a $30,000 and under, which is basically lipstick renovation.
You cannot make an addition with that one. You can't add on to the house with that one.
You're looking at doing carpet, flooring, paint, granite, adding fixtures and things like that to the house. It's literally a facelift. That is really all of it is. And it doesn't, I mean, you literally get approval for that. So if you buy the house for $210, you're approved for $230. You buy the house at $210 and you get your $20,000, $30,000 worth of rehab on it. And then you get to make that after you close. Right?
And that is a super good option. And I just don't think agents know about that a lot. I don't think your consumer knows about that a lot. And you do another video on that. But that's a really good option. A lot of people have vision that they can just, you know, really make these homes into their dream home. And that is an excellent opportunity to have instant equity, which is what we want you to have. Another thing, when you have equity, whether you came in with your interest rate or you bought at the right price, what does equity get you? Number one, money. When you sell your house, you get money. Number two, if you want to upgrade your home, or if you want to put a swimming pool in or an outdoor kitchen, you can get a HELOC loan from a bank that is making it a second mortgage on your home, but that's because you have equity in your home. If your home is valued at $400,000 and your mortgage is $400,000, you know, you're not going to get a home equity loan to be able to do any of those things on there. So that's another reason we want you to have equity.
Right, and you can also use it to fight your property taxes as well. So,
well, then there's that.
Yep.